with us on season 4, episode 7, where we watch Savage Builds, season 1, episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
This is James.
I'm Cary Grant's Tori Max.
I'm Harrison Hoffman.
All right, guys. This is going to be a much calmer podcast than last week. Sorry, we went a little off the rails last week. It was
a full throttle episode.
I'm going to have to lay the blame at the feet of a fantastic TV show called Chernobyl. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Oh, no.
all right.
It's happening again.
Harrison, give us the description for Savage Builds.
Adam Savage from Mythbusters puts his creative skills to the test by taking on bigger, badder creations in Savage Builds. Each episode focuses on one project as experts, friends, colleagues, and people he admires join Adam to help him complete a project. It doesn't matter whether or not the project is a success or a failure, but it does focus on all the collaboration that went into making it possible. That's Savage Builds on Discovery.
I definitely zoned out while you were reading that. I'm going to be honest.
Thanks, host. Glad you're paying attention.
You're welcome.
Host,
Was it the read over or was it the content?
It was, to be fair, this was
very
not
wordy.
This
very
was not
wordy.
the Discovery Channel description. They somehow didn't have one, so that was from Google.
Max, can you tell me what this show is?
okay, imagine Mythbusters if Jamie, a.k.a. Mr. Walrus McMustache, were not in the show, and if there were no sort of B-story build by Cary Grant and Tori, respectively. It's all just Jamie doing his shit.
You mean Adam.
Yeah, whatever. Adam.
That one.
Jamie Savage.
So Adam Savage just has some crazy fucking thing he wants to build, and he just like partners with people to build this shit. That's the show.
Yeah,
That's a key thing. I mean, it's minutia, but he clearly gets a ton more funding and a ton of shit. We'll get into it.
Yeah. All right. So let's go over what happens. So in this episode, he specifically is building an Iron Man suit. So in order to do that, he 3D prints titanium into a giant suit with the help of some place, which I didn't write down.
The Colorado School of Mining. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So then while they do that, Adam Savage tries to fly with some weird hand jet like backpack kind of situation.
Oh, yeah.
And then he puts the suit together, which is like really complicated because it's titanium. That's
Well, it was also complicated. It was like over 250 individual parts.
Yeah,
To make a
fucking
body
nuts.
armor suit out of this thing.
Yeah, so they spent a good bit of time just putting this shit together. Then they shoot fucking guns at this titanium chest plate,
You're damn right they do.
and then they bomb it
Oh, yeah.
with C4. And then they try flying. They go back to the flying bit, and spoiler: Adam does not learn enough to fly. So they have this other dude fly this Iron Man suit.
He almost gets there, but he's not quite good enough.
Yeah. And it looks pretty nuts to see like this like little literally iron suit like fly. That's what happened.
It's very legit. I think there's one piece in the beginning that we glossed over, which was to do any of this, they had to get the rights from Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
And
That's
there is-
minutia. That's minutia.
Definitely. But one of the things I do like about the show, now that I'm in the Marvel that Max called out, because that was not a thing. I don't remember if we ever talked about that in the pod. But anyways, they get the rights to it, and they have a lot of footage from the Iron Man movies in this, and they're referencing it. They get the like actual 3D printing copy or like blueprints or whatever the equivalent of a blueprint is in the 3D printing world. I don't really know.
It's called a model.
Yeah, some kind of model. There you go. And they get all that stuff, which is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool. They got the actual like designers and stuff from the movies to,
Yeah, I mean, they definitely made a point of being like, yeah, we're gonna say Iron Man as much as possible, and we only get to do that because we got the rights from Disney to say it. Even though this is Discovery.
Oh yeah.
Is Discovery owned by Disney?
Ooh.
Or is it a
I
Viacom
think so. They are
property?
not. I don't think they're owned by either of those companies.
They're
sure.
its own company?
Either that or they're maybe with history.
Where is Noah? Why is
Mr.
Noah
Internet
not
Corner.
here? We need the internet corner.
I feel like Discovery is its own thing.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
All right, I could be taken wrong. There's also like the opening at before this. They like show like a a 30-second to a minute of like what happens in this episode, they like gave a lot away. Like it was like, yeah, there's like you could see the bullet slide off the like,
Oh yeah.
and like you saw the explosion. And it's just like, what are you doing? I'm watching the show. I don't want to see the end before I like.
They gotta give you a little tease though.
Yeah, I mean it's teased that they're like shooting the gun or like whatever, but like
This is like one of my least favorite things in reality shows right now is like when they just like, I mean, in reality shows always really is like when they just peek ahead and spoil it for no reason. Like I'm gonna watch the show, like they do it in the challenge all the time. They're doing it in the colony all the time. We don't have to talk about right now, but they are doing it there.
we'll get into the colony a little later. It's just nuts. Like why I understand like, okay, have you seen this one before or not? Let's show you a little bit of what's happening. But like this goes into like, not that you can really spoil it too much, but like you're like set the show up. Like the second half of the show is like, can this armor do this? And then you showed me at the beginning of the show it can. Like, why am I watching this?
I thought it was going to be interesting. The way so they used 3 different types of bullets that were progressively worse and worse. So like that's
I mean, there was definitely more to it, but that doesn't mean I can't be annoyed or upset at the beginning of this.
I think this is pretty common in these builds type shows.
I mean, it might be. It might be my issue with all of them. So,
Could be.
yeah. After that, seeing them go to the school and do this 3D printing thing, it was really cool for them to like go over the process and like show you kind of like layer by layer of how like this thing was 3D printed.
Yeah.
And then like, I can't imagine how long it took to 3D print. How many pieces were like
250.
250 pieces? Like, I guarantee you they don't have like more than one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
And you can only print one of these parts at a time, so you just got to make sure 3D model at 3. Like, there's a lot of work going into making these pieces.
They just have all these grad students doing research or whatever, and they're just like, all right, go and 3D print all this stuff in the titanium printer.
I bet you they just put out a flyer that says, "Who wants to build an Iron Man suit this weekend?" And then
Yeah.
a bunch of these people
And
just
be on
show up.
TV.
Is this like, I could see it being like a class. Like
Yeah.
the class, hey, here's our 3D CAD files. We need to print 206, like one of each of these. Go ahead and like maybe it's a homework assignment.
Sure.
Like, hey, you've got to take this CAD file and turn it into something we 3D print it. But it's got to be like such a rare resource at that university.
That
right?
like that bottle of like titanium like powder must just be so expensive. Like just like that refined, like just that titanium powder. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So can you 3D print like anything out of this titanium stuff? Like whatever the mix is to make titanium? Like I don't
Yeah,
really
why
understand
not?
how it's working.
Yeah.
Why not?
You could just make anything.
I'm sure that there's
Yeah.
some restrictions.
That's what I'm saying. To your point, it must be highly valuable because you can legitimately make anything.
Well, there's
And it's
definitely
bulletproof.
going to be like some sort of size limitation.
I mean, titanium is a real expensive metal. I think it's pretty expensive to make things like
think
that out of
so, yeah.
titanium,
gotta
and
be.
especially that crazy refined titanium that they're using in that 3D printer.
I don't know if titanium is that expensive.
I don't know, dude. I feel like it's got to be pretty expensive.
It's like the strongest metal material, right? That we know of.
Well, that's like the strongest like single type
Single
metal.
element, yeah.
So like if you like titanium alloys can be stronger than titanium.
Right.
And, like,
Oh,
some
so
other
that's where we
alloys
get
can be
those like
stronger.
carbon fibers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or no, that's different, 'cause
No,
that's not
carbon
as strong.
fiber is not a metal.
Right.
So but you can get stronger metals with different alloys, but not like they didn't really go over that.
How much do you think 1 pound of titanium costs?
Just like a
Like
brick.
a square pound of titanium.
like a
Just-
brick or a pound of the powder.
Let's say a brick, which you can probably grind into that powder.
I don't know if you could grind titanium into a
Nah,
powder,
dude, that's
How,
part of
there's no way.
Like-
Man, okay. So in the movie Armageddon, if I've learned anything, they use like they use that diamond drill bit. Oh, I thought it was gonna be titanium. Messed that up. Sorry, guys.
It's
I
okay.
mean, like,
Was that a good movie reference
No,
there?
it's not. We're getting back to this brick.
I mean, like part of the expense, like one, it's more of a rare metal, and then two, it's like you literally have to take it from like in a rock to like mine out of the rock to refine
This
to
is
grind
all
it down
metals.
to this
This is
powder.
all
Whatever. I'm
metals.
just saying.
It might be cheaper to get it in the powder form because you can just like you don't have to actually reform anything. Okay,
I think Chris might be onto
it's
something.
like half a gold, whatever gold is.
Okay.
You got to make a guess. You got to make a real guess at this.
That is a real
Give me a
guess. I
dollar
don't know
value.
how much gold
Give me
is.
a dollar value,
I
Chris.
don't know the metal markets.
All right,
No
so
idea.
it's 16 ounces. I'd say like an ounce be like, I don't know, like $100, like $1,000. Nah, $12,000. I don't know.
Okay.
12,000.
Well, like, what do you think a pound of gold cost?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to reference it and not like
I'm with you.
actually give it.
I have no fucking clue.
I'm gonna say that's gonna cost you $4,000.
$30.
$30?
Oh.
30 bucks.
No, it's not $30 for a pound of
Man.
titanium.
Everyone is so off base.
The
I'm like,
price of
factors-
commercially pure titanium has risen sharply from 2003 to 2014, from 15 per pound to 30 per pound.
Holy shit!
So wait a minute. It must just be not like a precious. Like there must be ample amounts of titanium.
Oh, yeah.
in the
I
earth.
think so.
I
That
guess.
seems.
That's
I feel
the only
like
way
the
to
reason-
explain that.
The reason why things aren't made out of titanium is because it's really hard to work with.
Right.
As they show in the show a little bit, we can get into the minutia now of like they're building this suit together. They got all the pieces. They're like, okay, now we gotta like turn it into a suit, like joining it and like letting it
Making
move.
knee pads out of it and shit.
Yeah, and like so they got to put holes in it, and they're like, how the fuck do you put holes in titanium?
Like we don't own a drill that can pierce the metal.
Like we don't have those diamond drill bits from Armageddon. We gotta like. We gotta. So they had these giant hole punchers, which I was surprised the hole punch, like these industrial hole punchers, could punch a hole in it. But I guess it's like enough point pressure that I can.
I don't
So-
know. What was that thing? They didn't really specify what it was made of. He's just like, okay, we're gonna have to go to this whatever
Hole punch.
hole punch thing. Like,
Yeah, and then Adam's like, yeah, even this one, it's not even thick, and he's just like blazingly putting holes in it. Like, you sure you put that in the right spot? Like, are we okay?
it seemed a little loosey goosey on where he was putting holes in things. I really got the sense from this scene, like specifically, where it felt like there was a bunch of other people doing the real work. Then here comes Adam with the camera. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do this scene. Let me put some holes in some shit
This is a
for
good,
like all of 5 minutes, right?
yeah. So like, okay, Adam Savage comes in. He says he's building this shit. He goes to like the school of mining or whatever. He just picks up the pieces. He can build shit, and then he goes to this other warehouse and be like, yeah, we're putting this thing together today, and it's like 40 people. It's
Yeah.
just like,
It's very questionable how much Adam is legitimately doing.
yeah. I
Very
mean,
questionable.
I've seen his YouTube channel. He knows how to do shit, so it's
Mhm.
not like I'd say he doesn't have the skills to help. But it seems like the timeline for this show is just insane. They're like, yeah, all right. Once we get, they have like 1 day to put this thing together, and then they have 1 day to learn how to fly. Like this whole building this Iron Man suit was filmed in like 3 days.
It's like,
I'm not really sure why the timeline was so condensed or like felt pressured.
I mean, like to me, this is one of the big things with the show. Like, it seems like the budget for the show is not very high. Like, I think that if the show was like on Netflix, like it could be very like a very different show. But like basically, as this show is, like he's constantly seeming to like be calling in favors to get shit 3D printed and like doing whatever, and he's kind of like working with all these different people. Like, oh hey, you know, these people did this for free for us, like whatever. And it just kind of has this vibe of like we're trying to put this thing together on the cheap with like the people that like Adam knows.
I got a very different vibe from it. I thought it was like a, maybe a community involvement. Like maybe there's AdamSavage.com and people are like, yeah, I want to help build this or something.
Like if
Because
you
there,
can't,
there are all these
maybe.
anonymous people in the backgrounds.
I like the mining school. Like I don't know how you get that deal, but I don't think you pay a lot to get that school to print that.
No, you definitely don't. I mean, like they're
Like, you
definitely
just,
doing
like-
it on the cheap.
Hey, I'll pay to have this lab open. Pay for some titanium powder for you, like whatever.
It's cheap. The titanium power is cheap.
The titanium-
you can get it for nothing.
Why
It's
are we all not
$12,000 a pound, guys. I don't know what you guys are talking
I bet
about.
that printer is very expensive though.
I really should have bought a pound of titanium and tried to sell it to Chris.
That-
I'd
oh,
be
man.
Uh,
But this is why we have an internet corner.
It's true. It's true. Noah's got to keep us in line. But I think Max maybe is onto something where I think there's like a real research scientific kind of element to the show, which maybe helps offset some of that. Like people want to participate, they want to get some research out of it. The school wants to do this metal printing kind of stuff or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe that's how they kind of deal with that.
Like
I mean, he's
like,
definitely like name dropping people like, oh,
It
we've got these
definitely-
crazy testing, explosion plates from so and so that I
It's
don't remember.
definitely just a PR move from all the people who are like donating stuff and services to this thing. I mean, like I'm sure that that's the reason why the people with the arm jet boosters could only be there for 2 days because they're just like, hey, we'll come and do this for a couple days for you for free, I guess.
I don't
and
know if it's
get some
free, but
publicity for our
like,
company.
yeah, it's very hard. Like, we don't know that as we get into these production side debates, like, we have no way to find any of these answers.
What if there's another element to the show, which was so it's the show, but then the show is on Shark Tank, and the sharks are trying to be like, yo, should we invest in this flying arm guy, like jetpack guy?
Are we already off the rails in this side? Like, really?
Hey man, I thought we were in the minutia segment of how could the show be better?
We're definitely in the minutia.
We're obviously in the minutia, but like a
What if
minutia about this show, not minutia about non-existent future shows
It's true.
that sound terrible.
What
All right,
about
we're
if
gonna move
Man.
on.
you were dating Iron Man?
What?
How could the show be better? What if it was a dating show and you're dating Iron Man?
All right, just to be clear, they didn't actually make an Iron Man suit here.
What did they make, Chris?
They just made a titanium suit. It does not give you superpowers. It does not prevent you from taking explosions. It does not, they made it very clear multiple
There's
times.
no
in
life
this
support
episode.
system or AI
Yeah.
or any of the fancy Tony Stark stuff.
It can only fly for 7 minutes.
Whoa, yeah. I mean, I was going to say spoilers, but it's not a spoiler.
It was
Is that a
the-
spoiler?
It was the sickest cosplay I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. They say that as they do a shot for shot like they like show this like Mark II in the movie like as it's introed, and then they do a shot for shot remake of it. And it's like, this is not an Iron Man suit, guys. We have to say that because people in the test audience thought we made an actual Iron Man suit.
But then later they were always referred to it as the Iron Man suit. I can't believe they didn't paint the thing. I definitely thought they were going to paint it at some point.
Yeah, I thought there was a shot somewhere where like the head was painted.
Well, there was the opening shot in the like more plasticky looking version of the suit that Adam rolled in with.
Oh, okay.
Remember, maybe that's what we saw.
Maybe that's
because
what
that
I
one was
thinking of.
painted.
Speaking of the first half of the show is them putting this together. Then the second half is them like testing it out. So this time they shoot 3 bullets at it, a 22, a 9mm, and a 45. If somebody on the internet would like to tell me why we go from 0.22, is that 0.22 millimeters?
Caliber.
Is that what does that mean? What is the caliber like? Why we go from that to a 9mm? That's what I want to know.
Like it seemed like, I mean, they're obviously larger bullets as you're going up, and those are just kind of 3 common types of handguns.
No.
Right,
I know in
like-
the show it's like small, medium, like.
Yeah.
But I
Alright.
want to know in real life, why are they like? Why is it switching?
Like,
So one
why-
is imperial and one is millimeters. So like the 22 is a 5.6 millimeter.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Wow.
That was a
That's
great
it's a good
chime in
tangent
from
right
Max.
there.
Yeah.
So they're filmed this so beautifully. They've got like the slow mo on the like handgun that shoots at the Iron Man armor, and they've got this super slow mo on the Iron Man armor as like this, like the bullet hitting this Iron Man armor is like nuts. It shatters into like 20,000 pieces. It's like you don't want to be anywhere near this thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that every time they showed a bullet hitting that suit, everyone in the room was just, oh! Like, it was just, like, every time they showed it, it was insane.
Yeah. It's like you're wearing this, like you can't get this thing shot like on the inside of like a plate under a plate. Cause it would just like, it would shatter into 1,000 pieces right into like your neck or like
Yeah.
your hand or your
So
arm.
that is the pitfall of like the suit, which is you're not totally covered in titanium.
yeah.
And so wherever the bullet hits, hopefully it hits the titanium.
But
right?
then if it hits
then
it,
it shatters into the
Yeah.
shrapnel, and the shrapnel
the shrapnel is
will
what's
get
going to kill you in this thing.
definitely
Because like they shot the like all of them went through pretty fine. They get to like the 45 and it shoots and like a piece of really decent sized shrapnel goes right into the neck. And that's like not a place where you'd probably put your titanium armor piece because you don't want to like what's that going to protect at that point? Like,
Well, I don't think that they don't want to have it. I think just for the mobility of the
just
suit, like you wouldn't be able to move
like
because you'd have to have
under
a
your neck.
1,000
Yeah.
really small pieces.
Well, yeah, but it's not even just on your neck. It's like under your neck. You would need like it would be like right under your chin, like right here.
Oh, you mean I was trying to
Yeah.
imagine the under? I'm like
Well,
on
I
the
just
inside
don't
of
know
the
what you mean.
skin.
Like, can you believe? I feel like the on radio they got it and you didn't get it.
I don't know. Harrison's face seems like he also didn't get
I
it.
have no idea what you're talking
I'm
about.
talking about putting something underneath your chin
yeah,
to
isn't-
prevent that shrapnel from killing you.
yeah, isn't that just the helmet, the Iron Man helmet that he's wearing?
No, the Iron Man.
You need a neck guard.
You
Yeah.
But I'm saying that
Some-
you can't really have a like one titanium piece there because you just wouldn't be able to move your neck.
I think that like the Iron Man design is not really conducive to protecting the neck zone. Like you need something that's kind of all more encompassing.
What about titanium chainmail? What if you could make that? That would be sick as hell. What if you could 3D print that?
I'm sure you could 3D print it.
I mean,
100%.
You just need a
Problem
big enough
solved.
3D printer to build like an extra large chainmail.
Problem solved.
I mean, I think that we're kind of getting into the reality of like this is why Kevlar bulletproof vests are a thing and not titanium bulletproof vests because, you know, I think I'm not an expert in this, just to clarify.
Whoa,
But
you're not an expert.
From the
Should we
movies
do
I've
this at
seen,
home?
it seems like the soft bulletproof vest is like the bullet is absorbed and sort of like contracts in instead of bursting into shrapnel.
It's not quite that. It's that it does burst into shrapnel, but it's all caught that ways. It has a lot of shear force in that direction.
In which
In-
direction? Like towards
Towards your body.
So, perpendicular to your body's normal.
it's very specific.
this is the science
Science
episode for
segment.
us, okay, guys?
I don't know, but anyways,
So
yeah.
wearing this thing and getting shot at, I don't think would help you. Like it would help you a little bit, depending, but I wouldn't trust it to like not like I would trust like some other, you know, I would trust a Kevlar vest over this for sure.
Right.
Like, especially if I was just wearing a vest. That's
There's
like
a
a
reason
definition
the
of
military
that.
isn't wearing suits made of titanium right now. Like there's a reason for that.
All right. So after they do that, anyone got any other minutia around the shooting, whatever? They do this like C4 bomb experiment. They like blow up the C4 and they see where you would die. And then they put the armor around some of these like sensor things. And the ones inside the armor were okay. I don't know. One looked kind of
It was a little questionable.
and the ones outside the armor were completely you'd be dead.
Mhm.
Like literally where this thing blew up, the Iron Man armor was in flames. Like you're right next to this thing. Like you're in the movie.
3 feet away.
Yeah, but like you never really know if you're not engulfed in the flames. Like I don't know. It just looked really cool.
Oh, definitely cool.
Then they had this like really cool shot of like the Iron Man armor behind like some sort of flame kind of thing. It was cool. This was one of the better segments, I think, of the show.
Yeah.
It was like them. It was
nice
also
and-
really quick.
Yeah.
It was like bang, bang, bang. Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah, agreed.
Then I guess we get to the flying part. So like this came in 2 parts, similar to like a Mythbusters kind of thing, where like, hey, it was more about like how this thing works. So this guy had like a jetpack on his back and then 2 smaller ones on his arms. And he would like kind of fly like a tripod. Like he'd have a couple force behind him and then 2 to either side to like level him out.
Mhm.
Like in some sort of movie, James.
Iron Man.
Thank you.
There you have it. Brought to you by
It
Marvel.
was actually really cool. That should be like fun to try, but looks really hard to do.
It looks incredible.
It looks like it would be so much fun.
Yeah, the learning curve looks very challenging, but
Yeah, very
seems like
high.
if
It
you
looks
can get it.
definitely looks pretty hard.
I have a weird take. I think this would be easier if you had your eyes closed. Because I saw Adam like sort of fixing on a point instead of fixing his position.
I think it would be really dangerous for you if things go like if you like fall
Oh yeah.
at any point with your eyes closed.
Adam Savage fell.
Yeah,
And whoever was belaying him fucking sucked.
yeah. You didn't catch him till he was below the thing, and like ram his like legs into the side of the like little stand he was in. It was
Yeah.
like he was like over the stand
Oh yeah.
because like if he
Could've
was
been
on the
bad.
stand, he definitely would have fell pretty hard onto like the floor. I guess that's the minutia.
I mean, I'm like it's really hard to see like a real actual use for that kind of jet tech that guy has invented. Like, I mean, like it's an interesting toy or whatever, but like, man, it seems like the learning curve is insane. It seems so dangerous. Like, I can't imagine this being anything other than like some novelty thing.
Dude, Harrison, he was so close to those flames. Like
I know, dude.
just, like-
They are like you're literally strapping fucking jet engines to your arms and a gigantic one on your back. There's flames coming out of these things. You're fueling it with jet fuel. It looks hard to control. Like I just can't imagine.
I hate to say it, but I could totally see a valid military use case for this.
I don't know. I just think that there's just better tech for like transporting humans across the air. I mean, you could use drones. You could use a lot of shit that's
What if
not
you were
fucking
in-
jets that are strapped to your hands.
What if you were in
yeah.
some sort of bulletproof titanium armor while you're going across this battlefield?
I mean, that'd be great.
I
That's
think
what
that
you want.
this would be perfectly acceptable, like for the military use, if you could be up for like an hour. Like you go out, you come back, like 7 to 9 minutes, not enough time.
I could
I-
see this. Go ahead.
I just, I mean, like, what?
It's definitely just a stepping
What's
stone.
the guy doing? Like, why aren't you just using like a drone for whatever you're putting the dude in the Iron Man suit for? It's just
'Cause
crazy.
You lose all access to your hands. Keep in mind.
Oh, you can't.
You
That's how
cannot
you're up
use
there
your
shooting
hands.
people. Well, I mean, unless you have some, I don't know. Yeah. Like again, if you're not using your hands, why not have a drone do it?
I don't know, guys. I'm not in the military. I think this looks really cool. I think
It
it'd be
looks
fun
cool.
to try.
It does look cool.
But it also looks cool because it's from the Iron Man movie.
Some sort of Iron Man movie.
Some sort of Iron Man Tony Stark. I will say this looks like the best Halloween costume you could ever get.
Oh yeah.
Do you need the flying suit too? Do you need to be able to fly?
Do you have to get like some sort of FAA like flight plan together and clearance to like operate this thing?
Not below a certain level of
I don't think so.
Altitude.
Okay, so if you stay under like let's say like 50 feet, that feels reasonably
like
safe.
I think you don't need to license drones below like 100 feet or something.
How high do you think you could get on that thing? On this like flying jet. kind of
Like, and
thing?
be able to land
9 minutes
safely.
worth of jet fuel high. Just go up.
Yeah,
Can you just go up?
I think
I mean,
so.
I feel like the jet engine can only output so much power, dude. You can't just be like can't
But-
go
but I don't think
can't
you're
go to
getting the-
space.
Well, no. But you're not getting the power from like refracting off the ground. You're just getting from the upward thrust. So
Right.
the thrust remains the same. The ground is gone, so it doesn't
No,
really
no,
matter.
no.
You're
I'm
just
just
getting
saying
9
like your
minutes
jet
of-
engine can only get you so high.
well, yeah, because
Uh,
you'll be
before it
cruising
cuts
for
out in the
7 minutes or
atmosphere.
whatever. Yeah.
Right, you'll have less
If you go,
air
you can't go
up
7
there to
minutes straight into the
combust.
air
Why can't you go 7
because at
minutes straight up?
some point you won't be able to output enough thrust down.
No, the
Alright.
thrust is constant. Max has it.
All right, there's a lot of stuff in play here.
Okay,
First off, you are correct that if you jet straight into the sky, you will stop having thrust at some point. That's because of the availability of the air up there to combust.
No oxygen.
As for why is it that it feels like air pushes more on the ground than when you're in the air? There's this thing called the ground force that sort of you get more lift when you're close to the ground, but once you're like 10 feet in the air, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't come into play.
So do you think that this thing doesn't use ground force to keep itself up?
Probably not.
I mean, it definitely
like,
is
they
helping
definitely
when
didn't
he's
really-
near the ground. He's
Well, they
hovering.
didn't go really above 10 feet.
No. At some
Yeah.
point, the dude was
I
like
feel
a
like-
building warehouse building height level kind of high. He was like at least 25 feet.
I feel like they
Oh.
could have gotten a little more oomph out of it. Like they were doing most of the work.
I mean, it's so dangerous to go high in this thing because it's looks very difficult to control, and if anything goes wrong, you're dead on the pavement. I mean, there's no real way to bail out from this thing. It doesn't look like.
Yeah. Even if you did it over water, like once you're beyond a certain,
I mean, you
How you still not
primarily
gonna
would
help.
have this thing over water until you're really good at it.
You'd have to.
because like a high dive, you could survive that obviously, right? When people
Yeah.
do it,
But
but you might get hurt. But that's
I mean, you
what,
don't
that's like
have
30
this
feet?
giant
What's a high
metal
dive?
thing on your back, though.
Right. Like, what's an average high dive board?
like 100. You get
10 meters.
10 meters. There you go.
Oh,
Sorry, I meant ground effect, not ground force.
all right.
Oh, ground force sounded cool.
Ground force.
Some sort of
It's
Star.
a British gardening show called Ground Force.
What?
Some sort of Star Wars reference.
Put it on the list.
How reality is the garden show?
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyone else got any other minutia that we talked to you about this show? Like,
Is this show a reality show?
that's a good question.
I generally am curious. I don't know.
I
I struggle with this.
I mean, it's as much of a reality show for sure as Mythbusters is.
I'd say so. I think that it's like the producers set this whole thing up. It's very producer driven. It's not like, hey, this group is making an Iron Man suit. Let's document it. Like, no, this is like,
Yeah.
we're making this Iron Man suit for this TV show. And it's like, this is real stuff. It's real people doing it.
The
So, like,
only reason that they're doing the things that they're doing is because there's a TV show about it,
yeah,
right?
Max.
It wouldn't just be naturally occurring and then you just show up and film it.
But that guy was naturally occurring making those rocket arms.
Oh yeah, I mean, there could be a separate documentary about Rocket Arms guy.
Rocket arms guy.
What do you guys want to see Savage build?
Ooh, that's a good question because I do wonder what other episodes are in the seasons.
The next episode is out.
Okay,
So-
so this is a new show, right?
Yeah, this is episode 2 just aired.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, they definitely set the bar pretty high with the spectacle of the first one, so like I'm not really sure.
It's a hell of a pilot.
yeah,
I got you.
I don't really know where you go from here.
Okay, I got one. Have you heard of this TV show called Chernobyl?
I
I want to see him
Son of a.
make a
gotta mute his
nuclear
mic.
reactor.
I'd love to see
That would be insane.
I'd love to see him do something like underwater. Like
Ooh.
do some like submarine-esque kind of thing.
But that's more of an exploratory. Oh, make a submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Great way to die, though.
I mean, he only goes like 10 feet underwater. You're not gonna fucking die under 10 feet. Like,
Yeah, same problem with the flying rocket arms thing, right?
Like-
you can constrain it a little bit.
yeah.
What's
I
the
mean, it's not
underwater?
like people made submarines like 150 years ago or whatever. So it's not like super hard to do, but I think it'd be super fun to watch somebody be like, okay, now
Sure,
we gotta like
yeah.
figure out how to build this watertight submarine. Like, I'd love to see somebody build that.
I'm gonna say spacecraft of some sort.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I mean, that's definitely possible. I think you could get some
Launch
kind of
something up there.
low orbit.
Well, I mean, it's just like that Red Bull guy that like
Exactly.
went to space and like jumped down.
So all of his thing is his stick that like he is gonna make something for his body, or he can make anything. Like what's the
Well, I could tell you what the
constraints.
next episode.
Tell
Okay.
me.
So the next episode, the brief blurb was about he was making some sort of weapon that was a failed weapon in World War II. It was like this giant rocket wheel. So,
A
like, that-
rocket wheel.
Yeah, like that's
Ooh.
all I could tell you is they said it was a rocket wheel, and like the photo kind of looks like Adam in this like
I'm
some
intrigued.
giant like metal wheel.
Shooting rockets.
I assume the
Oh,
rockets
man.
are repelling this giant
Oh,
wheel
I see.
and some sort of weapon of some sort.
Experimental failed World War II planes is one of my favorite like sections of Wikipedia to get lost in sometimes.
Yeah,
Boeing did some wild shit.
there's definitely some wild stuff even after you get jets.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just like
forward swept wings and all that.
yeah. I'd imagine there's even more that are just classified that they can't talk about. Should we go to ratings? Are we into ratings?
Yeah.
I can kick it off. I think it's a top third show, but it's not like amazing. I think that I have issues with the show just in terms of like it's about building, but we didn't get a whole lot of that. And then it was about testing the thing you built, and I'd rather be more about the building process. And so I always felt the testing in Mythbusters to be too overblown, and I think it is way overblown here. It shouldn't be half the episode, maybe like the last quarter. So I just have pacing issues with the show, but overall it's really cool to like see what he's trying to build, and as long as he keeps it nuts, I think it'll be interesting in the long run. So top third. All right, James, what do you got for me?
So a bit of an asterisk on this one because one, I think it's a hell of a pilot. So I'm gonna put in the top third, but bottom of the top with an asterisk being like I don't know if he can continue this sort of pace. Like this is a hell of a production in the pilot. A lot of Iron Man and Marvel kind of stuff going on. You know, I don't know if the rocket wheel is going to have that same appeal. So it's a bit of an asterisk. Similar concerns around some of the pacing too. I think because this was Iron Man and because of that, like I was able to deal with it for the hour or whatever amount of time we did. But I do wonder if like future episodes can hold that kind of pace. So it's in the top third for now, but in the bottom and a little bit of an asterisk on it.
Reasonable. Max, what do you got?
I'm going to say this is a top third, middle of the top. I thought it moved. I thought the end result was really cool. I was into it. The only thing keeping it out of the top is they weren't building a school bus with monster truck wheels, so you could go out into a lake with your buds.
And also bring stage equipment.
Right.
All right, Harrison, what do you got?
Yeah, I think I have a lot similar feelings to James on this. So I've been between this kind of top of the middle, bottom of the top. Like I think it's an incredible pilot, and as like a one-time watch of, you know, hey, watch Adam Savage build an Iron Man suit. Like I would watch that YouTube video like all day. I think it's really interesting. Like I'm curious to see what the actual like theme of the show is, like theme of the builds. Like Mythbusters has a pretty clear like, hey, we're going to take common myths and try to build it and prove or disprove it. Just kind of interested to see what ties together all the different things that they do on the show.
Totally.
So
I think if they had a theme, they would have put the theme in the title.
I think probably.
I think it's just going to be him building just random weird shit that no one builds, and there's no reason to build it. He's just building it.
Yeah, I mean, so like, I mean, really, the quality of the show and whether or not it kind of stands apart from something like Mythbusters just depends on if they continue to have as crazy projects as the first one. So I'm going to put it in the and I never do a James Ray. I'm going to put it in the bottom of the top.
Oh,
because I'm going to watch another episode or so and then make a final determination on it.
I'd be down for the next episode.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to like when we do the finale of the season, we got to come back and see. Like, at least look at the list of inventions and, like, do a quick update. I'm totally going to forget this, like, another 40-something episodes from now, but...
We'll have to... Hopefully Rob will remind us. Who knows?
Maybe Rob can take a note here.
So, I teased an update last week about
Lohan's
one of
Beach
our... Not we do it. There is Lohan's Beach
We got to
Club
get to
news.
that. We'll get... Yeah.
Some sort of Paradise Hotel.
Oh.
Some sort of Love Island,
Yeah.
but US version that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
How'd it go?
So we were very concerned how the money was going to work out. And it is very nuts how this money works out.
I like how Chris says money.
Money. So they like in the last episode, they kicked off a person. There was 4 couples left. That person got to kick off another couple.
Oh.
Just
out of
the
bam.
That's
Like
just
another-
like nuts.
Nuts.
Another guy and a girl just booted
No,
him?
just they kicked a guy off the show.
Yeah.
Then the guy got to kick a whole couple off the show.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now you're down to 3 couples.
Okay.
And then between I forget exactly how one of the other couples like wins a challenge or something and gets to kick off one of the other couples. So now they're down to these 2 couples. Now they pull the survivor move, and all of the other couples that have been kicked off the show get to vote to see who wins. And so, okay.
How much money is
This
it?
is insane.
This is insane. It's not even the best part yet, guys.
Ooh.
So this couple wins $250,000.
Whoa.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
great.
the money.
That's a good chunk of change.
That's the money on the line. So that's not the end of it. They pull a challenge-esque move here, where they put both like the women on one side, the man on the other side, and they have to walk towards the center as like money gets increasingly more expensive. So like they'll start out 0, they'll move to
Okay.
like fit $25,000, and at that point, anyone can like say, "I want the money," and it's just their money. So they're in order for both of them to get the money, they have to go all the way to the center,
Okay.
and they'll both split $250,000.
Okay.
but they get to walk all the way through 50, 100, 150, 200, and then they have a chance at 250,000 to be like, I'm out. So, and at that point they say they're out, they get all of the money.
Okay.
So they have to like put their trust in each other to split $125,000,
Okay.
or they'll both get $125,000. But at 200,000, the dude just bails out and he gets $200,000.
Oh,
Lauren
yeah.
gets nothing.
Oh,
That's so good. Oh,
I was like, oh, that's like, if you're gonna be the asshole, that's the move.
What a
But-
dick.
That's
Yeah.
some good television.
It's the money in that show is so nuts.
That's so funny. They they just had to try to figure out a way to like actually reduce this down to a winner. It seems so
Yeah,
shoehorned in.
it's so dumb. It's
Oh,
just
man.
so dumb. Like I talked to my friend, at work, he watches Love Island and the show, and he's like, the tone of the show is so different because like people on Love Island are like actually there to find a relationship. No one in Paradise Hotel was. They were just trying to win this money, but no one knew how you won the money. And it's just like, how can you like if you knew there was a survivor situation, you gotta be much nicer to those people. You can't just be such a dick. And the people, the couples at the end were very big dicks. They were like the worst couples on the whole show. So it's
Yikes.
like none of them deserve to win any of the money.
How many weeks did this show go?
I don't know, dude.
Too
There was
long,
like
most
13
likely.
episodes or something.
Oh shit.
I'd have to internet.
That's
corner.
insane.
How did you feel about it, like as you were watching it as a viewer?
I was just like,
Like good
hey,
TV
so
or
like my friend told me that the ending was nuts, and he kind of told me the ending, and I'm like, I can't not watch it now because I have
Yeah.
to. I have to bring it up to the podcast. I gotta know. It was not good. Like I didn't rewatch the whole season, so I didn't have a whole lot of context for like
you weren't
the
all in on
couples-
the people. Yeah.
and the people, but like. Like I knew what was gonna happen because my friend told me, and I was like just watching that guy, like the way you also called out was like they had this giant like Christmas globe thing that they were like holding, and if you just smash it on the ground, that means you're out and you want the money, and that was good TV. It was good TV. This like Survivor-esque bit of like, hey, go the way they like picked what couple you were with, like you'd walk out catwalk style, and one couple was on the right hand stage, one couple was on the left hand of the stage, and you walked over to the side that you were voting for.
Oh man.
So it was like it was done well.
I mean, I think it's certainly a possibility that when they pitched this show, like this is like the idea that they had. It's like, and at the end of this whole thing, like they're gonna have to choose between like love and money, and then they kind of start with this idea, and they had to kind of work backwards for how to get into that ending.
I don't know.
Could be.
It was very dumb, very dumb. But I thought the ending and the money was nuts, so it had to. I had to do it.
We appreciate you getting through it for us. Good story.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Does anyone have any other updates?
I do. Chris has been talking big game about a show called No, I'm just kidding. Legion.
I was just waiting to like throw a knife across the room at Max or something.
And I finally decided to give it a go, and it is by far the best like superhero-y TV show I've ever seen.
It is like there's superhero and superpowers in it,
It's
but
really
it's like
not
it's really
that-
about like psychological health and like
As described as shown in the first episode, it's about a telepath with schizophrenia, and it's just a fascinating show.
you'll have to praise us. Season 3 started. I like the pilot, or the season 3 episode 1 was really good. So we'll see how this is the last season. So
I like shows with a expiration date. It means they know they're gonna take care of shit.
yeah, should be good. Anyone else? Harrison, you got an update for us?
I have a brief. So I'm not going to do a full update, but Annabeth and I have continued watching season 1 of The Colony. I'm in about episode 7 out of 10, I think. So maybe next week when she's back on the pod, we'll.
So this be correct. This is not the Hermione like 2019 or 2016 scripted show. This is the 2009 reality version of the show we watched last week.
Yes. It's the show. Yeah, it's the show that we watched on the pod last
Harrison's
week.
face while I was saying
I
that.
had no idea what you were talking about at all.
You didn't know that there's another show called The Colony?
No,
I didn't.
I also didn't.
What? You guys are nuts.
the colony that I'm talking about is the one that we talked about in this pod.
I
for
know,
like an
I
hour
know. I
last
was trying to
week.
make a joke. Just watching your face while I'm making it made it so much harder to get through. I was like, okay.
I had no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, that show's wild. More to come on that one.
All right. I've been keeping up with Double Shot at Love, and the last time I talked about it, I was like, why am I still watching this? And I still question why I'm still watching this.
But you're still watching it.
I can't believe
to
it's
be
still
clear.
going. It feels like
Yeah.
we watched that forever.
Yeah.
It's episode like 13 or something.
Oh no.
Wow. That feels
MTV really
slow.
needs to get its game going in terms of like ending these things in reasonable times.
It's like a Bachelor length season for this thing here.
Yeah, they're trying to do The Bachelor. Don't you
No,
understand?
I do understand. I'm just saying it's crazy that they got these guys to commit to doing this thing. It's
It
nuts.
is. I mean, like, I thought the last episode was going to be the last episode. And then the next time on for this episode doesn't seem like it's the end either. And I'm like, what is going on? They're like, there's like 4 or 5 people left. They must be kicking them all off like one at a time.
Mm.
Does like Paulie and Vinny not have shit to get back to dealing with?
Yeah, they
Or-
got to go to home for more vacations.
So do you think that either of them are gonna find love in this show?
Absolutely.
Maybe.
I mean, like, have you seen them getting like
Again,
close
when
to
I
any of these
say
women?
I'm watching the show, I'm like half watching.
Harrison,
At best.
they've already found love in each other. Get with the program.
There you go.
They do make references to that throughout the, the show.
How many haircuts would you say they've gotten since you've been watching
Oh,
this show?
man.
13?
No, they kind of stopped doing it for a bit.
What?
Yeah, they weren't doing it before every elimination, and I think like only like 5 times.
And now they've just totally stopped.
The last episode had one though. I was
Really?
like, I thought they stopped and they did it again. I'm like, oh, okay, we haven't stopped this.
Okay, the barbers are back.
The barbers are back. You know, it was too difficult to get a haircut every day.
It's like, man, it's really an expense in the show to have these barbers coming every day.
to like not cut their hair, right?
They just got an intern or somebody to do it, right? I mean, they're not really cutting hair. They're just like, okay, just get the clippers. Like, we'll add
mean, yeah, you
we'll add
definitely
the
don't-
sound in post.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine. Just
Like-
run the clippers through their hair.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's there's also less to talk about for some reason. Like, even though you think there'd be more to talk about between Vinny and Paulie at this point about the women, because like initially they were talking about a lot about like who they actually were,
Hmm.
because they were like didn't even meet half of them for some reason. But it is going on super long. Like, I'm like over it, and I want it to be over. But I guess I'm still not the biggest fan. So what do I know?
Tell us when it's over.
Well, when we have Emmy or Courtney on, we can ask them because I think they're still watching it.
All right.
Any other updates? Are we good? All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at @WhoPutThisOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/WhoPutThisOn. You can find us on, or you can email us questions and suggestions at WhoPutThisOn@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time.
$30.
30 bucks?
Oh.
30 bucks.
No, it's not 30 bucks for a pound of
Man.
titanium.
Everyone is so off base.